How you going? Robert Morgan here from Marine Easy Clean. Now I'm going to show you phosphate removing technology that is really, really quick. So first I'm going to start the experiment because the whole thing's going to take 20 minutes to show people how it works. So basically we've got our bottle full of phosphate. We can remove the phosphate in 15 minutes. But what's really cool is that actually shocks the system, no good in lakes and rivers. So we actually do it over a 5-day period. But for what we're going to do now, we're just going to show you really quick phosphate removal with a simple clay product that we've activated, that we found through my travels of showing the world what we do with biomediation. So just give that a bit of a shake up and say normally you don't like doing it quickly, but in this case, just make it happen. We'll move on to all that. Let's just let that rest for 15 minutes. Now, just so you know it's full of phosphate, that's why we grabbed a little sample. First thing we're going to do is test the phosphate levels in real time. So we get our hand instruments. Let's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Powders. So, I entered the George Bailey Prize originally with my bioremediation technology. But it's not what this prize was about. So whilst I do great biomediation in waterways around the world, George Bailey Prize was about how can we remove it, basically reuse it. So I've been working on it, let's just say. So as you know, when you do a phosphate test, it goes blue. This one's blowing up already. So we'll just put that there, put it in the corner of the video. You have your vial going blue because it's full of phosphate. So that'll be nice and dark blue by the time we're finished. Anyway, so we've got this powder. I'm going to come in close and show you this powder. It's a very simple absorption powder. We put it in, pull it in pillows, and what we can do is capture the phosphate really quickly or do it slowly. But then all we have to do is simply pull this stuff back out of the water, as simple as drying it out, one done earlier, and that is now ready to give it to the trees. Paddocks, farmers, the whole lot. So we can now take from the waterways where we've polluted and put it back on the farmland to regrow our crops. It's really cool, eh? So, as you know, I was the water cleanser man, and we're doing biomediation around the world now. And we've actually gone through to China and done a lot of work in China, because the problem I've had in the Western world is they all go, you're not doing big enough areas. And no one would let you do it. So we went over to China and we're now doing 11-kilometre river systems. We're doing drinking waterways in England. And we had to make, the beautiful thing about China is it has great sets of standards. So we're looking at a river system in China. And we have 5 categories, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now the government's now asked all the councils to meet type 3 for rivers. So at the current time when we went into these jobs, they weren't even making level 5. So we go in and we treat the eddy zones of the rivers with our technology. Now what this does is the eddy zones where there's no water movement, say on the inside of a bend, with biomediation we can reduce the nutrient levels, we reduce the ammonia levels, and we do a reduction in phosphate levels. And over a 3-month period, our ammonia and nitrogen was meeting level 3, our total nitrogen, your nitrates, the nitrites, ammonias, all those made the level 3 standard for the government. But phosphate, we reduced it quite well, but wasn't to the standard. So when we started treatment, it was at 0.63 parts per million. We got it down to 0.36, and it was just sort of steadied on out. So this is where we incorporate this technology in a pillow system. And like when I'm talking pillow systems, it's pretty simple. Now we just use a bag, a brick. Deployment's pretty easy as well. You walk out in the river and you place them in. And as you say, we do actually concentrate on these eddy non-water movers. And this river flows at 2.5 kilometres per minute. But you have all these spots where the water doesn't flow for ages, and these is where you concentrate on your actual reduction of numbers. And when we incorporated these pillows, so here we're just using a simple zip tie to cut them off. The phosphorus levels then went completely down to the standards 3, which was 0.2. So if you want to go lower, you just put more pillows in. Biologically, we can do a lot, but that only binds the phosphate into the soil. So how's our time going? We're sitting at 6 minutes. Well, we've got another 11 minutes to kill before we can show you water with a 0 phosphate. So that's our water with the phosphate. Now, let's keep talking about all this. So just with the size of the jobs we're doing, this is the river system in China that we were treating. Got the job done, deal done. We're now doing 3.2 kilometres of the river, so 36 kilometre section. With 3.2 kilometres, we have managed to get this down to the standards they wanted. Other ones where they're working on cyanobacteria, where we're running our controls, we got it from your normal cyanobacteria blooms through to your microalgae and diatoms. This is just through biomediation. We're now doing 11 kilometre sections of rivers in China. And I know everyone talks about phosphate for cyanobacteria blooms. We concentrate on biological nitrate production and removing the oils from water. And this is our latest job in China. This is a fish pond, very large one. You see the huge cyanobacteria bloom. Now, we killed this in 14 days. We didn't kill it. We created microalgae and diatom dominance. But by removing the oils, removes the sludge, meaning you get no fish deaths through the process. It's all pretty cool. But that still was not what about the George Bailey Prize is about. George Bailey Prize is about getting phosphate, absorbing it, then recollecting it, so we can then put it back to the trees on the farmlands, reusing phosphate. That's what George Bailey Prize is about. So we are going to achieve exactly that in less than 20 minutes on this one YouTube. So anyway, we're now up to 10 minutes, so we're going to keep dribbling along. I think you might have seen this one before, but this is a big, beautiful lake where we control cyanobacteria very, very well in Australia. So we're doing China, Australia. We're now working in England, India. Another big thing we're working on now, because we've discovered that a lot of places, polluted places as well, you're talking China, India, Vietnam, they've actually lost nitrobacter in the system. So we've now developed a block, fully oxygenated block that holds nitrobacter, because when you put the TWC blocks in, it should go ammonia, nitrite, nitrate. But in polluted countries, it only goes to nitrite, which is poisonous to the environment, and that won't transfer over to nitrate. So we've just developed that to solve the polluted, stricken areas of the world, so we can get nitrobacter back and working in the environment, make biological nitrate, which will eliminate your cyanobacteria blooms and also make all your wetlands and everything boom again. Anyway, how's our time going? Got a look at the clock here. We are up to 10 minutes and 15 seconds, okay. Still got 5 minutes to kill. I wonder if we can do this quicker. It only takes 15 minutes and job's done. Phosphate will be 0. So, anyway. Let's, firstly, we've got to prove to you, when I do this next test, that there's no phosphate in this bottle of water. Because when we put the powder in, you've got to know that I'm not cheating the system and the phosphate just doesn't come back willy-nilly surprisingly. So let's get this test underway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, give that a little stir. Pop this in to get our 0 night phosphorus reading. So our control bottle, as you can see, is clear. 0 phosphate. So when we collect, we capture our powder, we dry it out, we're going to use that bottle to show that we can then give it back to the trees. So, next thing, get our next test to run. How's our time going? We are currently sitting at 12 minutes and 38 seconds. We have 2 minutes to kill. I'm going to pull this a little bit early because I know what I create is usually pretty good. So we've got 2 minutes to kill. The weather over here is bloody fantastic at the moment, and I wouldn't want to live in a better place. You've seen a couple of runs of the YouTubes where I'm out with the stromatolites and all amazing areas around here, but absolutely bonza, as the Poms would say. Okay, I reckon let's do it early. Let's capture the phosphate. We're going to grab this simple construction. The big thing when you're doing all this, we want to save the third worlds and everything. We can't use expensive stuff, filters, so this is all going to be done quite reasonably cheaply. So let's pour this out. And there goes the powder in as well. Beautiful. Empty. Could have got a bottle that actually full of sat properly. Now the other thing we're going to do is normally we just put this stuff outside and dry it in the sun. Well, we can't do that today. We've got to dry it quickly because we're doing everything in real time. The phosphate, control water. These ones are just to clean the vials if we want to do another test for you. Okay, throw that in. Now, we want to heat this up. We're creating super sun. Heat this bugger up good and proper. So it dries this powder really, really quickly. I say, because this is about all doing everything in real time. No gimmicks. Everything's above board. Okay, for now, let's go catch this. So, now we're just going to chuck this on the ground here. And we're going to scoop up a heap of this powder. Try and dry it out as best as we can. Look at that, beautiful slop. All with the phosphate in it already. So, let's go like this. Chuck it in the dry me out pan. Now, if we just let this dry out, it actually releases the phosphate really slowly. You've actually got to crush it to release it quickly, but you know, they put it on a farm, we don't want to release it really slowly. So, give this a bit of a, you can see the all the wood here. Drying out super fast. We want to get on this one first because this is going to be the longest process, and we'll test for the phosphate very, very quickly. Get our little plastic spoon and spoon it all about. And normally this is done slowly, so it's interesting to see the results. Honestly, I've never cooked it before, so. It's got to get dried out. Otherwise it won't release it. See, this is completely safe. We've had this in the water for months and it doesn't release the phosphate whilst it's wet. It has to be dried out. And then it just lets it all go because I saw that's what we required for the George Bailey prize. Right, we'll give that one more little. See if we can get him dry. I love science. Gives me the greatest kick doing all this fun stuff. Anyway, let that dry naturally. This water, that's blue over there, we're now going to do our phosphate test on it. I'm just going to put it over here a bit. Let's get this wet one, pull him out of the way. Do our 10 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we grab our little powder satchel. Put it in the right little jar, eh? Okay, pour that in. Gotta love the neighbour's dog. Always comes in at the right time. Now, give that a shake up, shake it all about. You want to make sure it's good and shaken, so you don't want to show the bluff of it. So, this is really cool. What have we got here? That was the water that's full of phosphate. Now it's got no phosphate. It's in the powder. How cool is that? We've caught it. We actually did it under 15 minutes. Now that's, I don't know, bloody marvellous. So we've got the phosphate in here, but it's still wet. I'm going to give it a big stir around. Gotta get it dry, because this is really cool. This is when we give it back to the trees, We'll fire this beauty up again. Let's get this stuff dry. Show you the cool side of what we're doing. Come on, dry up, baby. I promise this surge is going to be done in 20 minutes. Well now. Okay, let's give it a bit of stir up again. Plastic, fantastic. It's drying up well now. Oh, beautiful. We're going to be able to run this test in a minute. I'm not going to pour it over anymore, so I'm going to fall out. Cooking it up. Lemonade in the water. Okay. Now, we're going to use the water from this bottle here, which you know, it's got no phosphate in it. So I'm going to pour that into there. Using trusty plastic spoon, we're gonna I really should use a metal spoon, but there it is. Hopefully it just comes up pretty easy. Powder, we're gonna pour it in the water. We'll give that a bit more crush up. We want it really to release a bit. Okay, now we're just gonna get our droplets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And give that a little whoop. Grab our region B. Our testing equipment. Normally you've got the machine that can test, but blues and phosphate. Then you've got no phosphate, so I don't need to do that. You get the drift of what we're achieving here. Oh, I meant to get the bloody stuff in there. Helps if you get it in the jar, eh? And the thing. Anyway, we have just taken phosphate-full water, freed it of phosphate, and then can give it back. So, here's my powdered phosphate, all dried that we dried in the sun. Oh look, that's so much easier to work with. This is the proper way of doing it. Dry it in nice slowly, instead of using the guns. And we get that. There we go. We get our tree and we pour it onto the tree like so. Give it a bit of water. And you've just moved nature's fertilizer. Take it from the water, from our waste, from our land waste, and then give it back to the farmers. My name's Robert Morgan, and this is what George Bailey wanted, from what I've read, was a way to capture phosphorus in the environment so it can be reused back on the land. And it is simple technology, simple clays from around the world that are binded together, a little bit of chemistry, and we have the solution.